Welcome to Revival Records Podcasts. I'm Peyton, one of the co-founders of Revival, as well as a singer, songwriter, and performer who has spent the last 20 years riding the roller coaster, otherwise known as the music business. And in this podcast, I speak to talented artists, producers, DJs, music moguls, songwriters, musicians, basically anyone brave enough or just crazy enough to make the business of music their mission in life. My guest on today's podcast needs no introduction for the house music heads out there who know a thing or two about its history, and in particular, the stories behind the meteoric rise of Britain's rave scene. Ever since the start of his career back in the 80s, Danny Rampling has been at the forefront of dance culture and electronic music, and is widely credited as one of the original founders of the UK club scene, as well as introducing Britain to the sounds of acid house. It's thanks to a summer holiday in Ibiza in 1987 with fellow DJs Paul Oakenfold, Nicky Holloway, and Johnny Walker that Danny got his first taste of the new sounds that were making their way across the Atlantic at that time. And well, the rest, it actually really is history. Ever since he opened the doors of his enormously successful club, Shoom, Danny's parties have become the stuff of legends. And as for Danny himself, well, he'd go on to spend the next 4 decades actually just being a bona fide legend. As an award-winning global superstar DJ, a chart-topping music producer, club promoter, radio presenter, author, record label manager, an entrepreneur, eco-warrior, an all-around transmitter of high frequencies and positive vibrations. What an honor it is for me personally, a real privilege to be able to spend a little time in the company of the man whose Love Groove dance party compilations I first heard whilst living in New York City some 30 years ago, and which served as my own very first introduction to house music, and thereby changing the course of my life in more ways than I have time or care to even begin to ponder. So without further ado, I would like to ask the church to please rise and give a very warm revival welcome to the one and only Danny Rampling. Danny Rampling, welcome to Revival.
Thanks for having me.
Well,
pleasure to be here.
You are definitely one of our unofficial ambassadors, I would say.
Yeah.
It's been encouraging
Great.
to see you picking the music up and, getting the feedback from you, seeing you playing it at your events.
Yeah.
And of course, for us, having that kind of, somebody with that credibility, loving what we're doing, it's a great affirmation to us that we're on the right track.
Well, thank you for the music, the continued music. And that's the thing. It's so uplifting. And that's what the world needs more of. And this is perfect timing because there's so much trouble going on in the world and
so
turmoil.
I have noticed.
Yeah. So Revival, the sound of Revival is about raising the frequency and the vibration. And bringing joy.
Yeah.
It's so uplifting, all of the tracks, So soulful and uplifting.
So soulful and uplifting. What was it always about that for you? Because you've been doing this for
quite a few years.
I think
probably a big chunk of my lifetime.
A very big chunk of your life.
Probably, I don't know, over 35 plus years. 35. Yeah.
So you've seen a lot.
Yeah.
You've been instrumental in bringing quite a lot of what's going on now to the UK. You're credited with really being one of the people that brought house, the whole scene, acid house, to the UK and really got it kicked off with your parties with Shoom.
Yeah.
Is that how you said it?
Yeah. We went to Ibiza. And
as you did,
came back greatly inspired by the sound of DJ Alfredo in the open air in Amnesia. And before that, I was trying to get my break DJing. And I knew that at some point I was going to host my own night. I worked with Nicky Holloway. I learned a great deal from Nicky. He was a leading DJ and promoter in London in the 80s and into the 90s. So that gave me a lot of training and doing the groundwork with him. I learned so much. So it was time to start my own club night. So that's what I met my first wife, Jenny, around that time, and came back from Amnesia and Ibiza, just, kind of
buzzing,
buzzing and filled with inspiration and creative direction. And the name Shoom was. There was this kid on the dance floor in Amnesia, and he was Shoom, 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 and I thought
that's where it came from.
That's the name for the club. It sounds great.
What he was saying, Shoom, Shoom, Shoom.
Yeah. Are you feeling shoomy? Hey, that's a cool name.
Because I wondered if it had something to do with mushroom. It's
nothing to do with mushrooms. No. That's where the name. That's inspiration came from that kid. I think he was from Stoke or somewhere. He was a young kid. And
did you ever see him
that's
again?
the name for the club.
Did you ever run into him?
Yeah,
again?
on the scene. Yeah. Came back to London and got on with it.
Wow.
And, in a fitness centre.
Basement, right?
And at the weekend, they'd have private functions there. So the gym equipment would be cleared to one side of the room, and we put banners across that side of it, and it held about, at a real squeeze, 280. So it was a real intense, hot, free state of...
Yeah. You can't do that anymore.
Do as you please and just have the time of your life. And that's what Shoom was about, and it attracted a wide, broad mix of people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
From pop stars to street kids to music producers, fashionistas. And
sounds like your own little Studio 54.
Yeah.
In Southwark.
Exactly, yeah, in Southwark. And at that time in Southwark, which Southwark now is a very... desirable neighbourhood, but back then it was very industrial. There wasn't the swanky apartments and lovely restaurants and shops and bars that Southwark now has. Of course, the Borough Market was there, but my family originate from that area. So there's a lineage there and a family connection. So that venue was perfect. And
was it a success right from the start? Did you have to build?
No, not right from the start. The first party that we put together, I did it in conjunction with this other guy, Ian, who was a rare groove DJ.
Okay.
So the crowd was kind of split between like a rare groove crowd, nothing wrong with that, but they didn't want to hear house really, and it was only about 100 people showed up. And a crowd who liked house, so it didn't really work that well because things were changing. So kind of that was the first one, and then the second one, decided to go it alone and just into the direction of house and acid house and Balearic. So a real mixture of music, and I think it was the second one that we brought Carl Cox in with his sound system. Carl used to put sound systems in and do private events, and he was playing at a club in Streatham with Paul Oakenfold. He was his warm-up DJ, in fact, for quite some time. Carl, They all grew up together. But the first time I heard Carl was just like he is an amazing DJ, and he really has great energy. So Carl came in for a couple of sessions.
You had
so he came in. He came in twice with his sound system, and then we moved to Norman Jay's brother Joey J because it was a reggae system, a dub reggae system,
right? And
I loved the bass on his Good Times, and Joey J's sound system. So that Joe stayed with us for into Busby's at the Astoria. Yeah, really great reggae sound system, which was perfect for. Bass-driven house.
Of course. Was it once a week, once a month?
It was on Saturday night.
Every Saturday night?
Every Saturday, and it ran from 11 till 5.
And this was 87, 80?
87 and 88, it was in Southwark, yeah.
How much did it cost to get in, out of curiosity?
£5.
£5.
Yeah.
And where'd you make the money?
Some people thought that...
How'd you make the money?
We didn't make money.
You didn't make money?
No, it covered its costs.
Because people didn't really buy drinks.
It built the club.
Lucasade.
Well, everyone was drinking Lucasade. That was the preferred. That really popularised the renaissance of Lucasade because then it went to the wider rave scene. So Shoom was really a benchmark for the foundations of the rave scene. The rave scene became something completely different and commercialised and huge events. that Shoom was a free state of hedonism, and everyone was equal.
Yeah.
Diverse mix of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was equal. And as I've said before, everyone was a VIP in that room.
Which is very cool.
Yeah, it was all about the music. It was about the vibe.
There's something about that.
It was about the high as well. And the music got people higher.
And they danced.
Yeah. Yeah, dance at that time, you know.
Yeah, you go to Ibiza now. It's really about the VIPs.
Break the weight loss and cardio workouts.
Yeah.
And everyone dropped a lot of weight.
Yeah.
It was, it was a great time. You know, you just wanted to dance all night.
They weren't holding their phones up, filming the DJ for
there was thank God there was none of that back then.
None of that.
I mean, I do have a regret that there is no footage of Shoom.
Is there none at all?
No. There was one photographer, Oliver Maxwell, who came with a Cine 8 and filmed one night. He's a friend. But that film didn't, because it was so smoke heavy with the smoke machine, pressing the smoke machine and the strobe lights.
People were probably smoking, I guess, indoors back then.
Yeah, I think so, yeah probably, yeah.
87?
I think so,
place would have been full of people smoking.
Yeah, and unfortunately that footage was not very clear. So that's the only footage that we have.
That's a shame, yeah.
And it is a shame. So... But, yeah, Shoom set the benchmark, really, alongside a couple of other clubs. And it gave me the platform that I had been dreaming of and working towards as a young DJ.
Yeah.
You know, I knew
you needed that.
I stood on the dance floor in Heaven nightclub and looked up at Colin Favor and Mark Moore playing there and said, this is long before The Secret and manifest your dreams.
Right.
And I said to Jenny, I'm going to be up there in that DJ booth within a year, and I was.
That's interesting. And you'd never read anything about the whole manifestation.
No,
you just knew.
No,
it's a natural.
Visualized myself being there in that DJ booth, and within a year I was.
Yeah,
but it was the passion and my spirit and zest for life. Because before that, I'd nearly lost my life in a car crash in America, and had a near miss.
Wow.
A scrape with potentially death.
Yeah.
So it just felt like a complete rebirth, and everything happened in quick succession. Going to America, living there for nearly a year, then coming back after that accident, and then going to Ibiza, and then meeting Jenny, and then creating Shoom. So there was a sequence of events.
The music that was it America where you heard this music, or was it Ibiza or?
I heard house on the radio in the UK on Jazzy M and Steve Jackson's radio shows.
Right.
I was on pirate radio at the time on Kiss, but it was really Ibiza that really kind of solidified that sound. And also Alfredo was playing the Balearic sound of just, kind of a whole mixture of music. Very eclectic, like Larry Levan at the Paradise Garage. So, yeah, all of this inspiration, but Ibiza was the beacon of inspiration for me.
Right.
And I wanted to play like Alfredo because I wasn't really a mixer up until, kind of 87. Then I started mixing because I was playing soul, funk, hip-hop.
Yeah, you're just
disco
dropping tunes.
Yeah, just selecting.
Yeah.
That was it.
How'd you learn?
How?
Yeah.
Just by practicing continually, practicing. I mean, I didn't even have decks in 87.
I was going to say.
It was only when I started to make a little bit of money that I bought some decks in early 88. And I just sat there all night looking at them and playing on the turntables. For days, I'd just play on the turntables.
You still play vinyl?
My vinyl's in storage, but I would love to do another vinyl set, and I will when I get the vinyl out of the storage unit. But yeah, I love playing vinyl.
Yeah, you miss that.
It's the art form.
Yeah.
Well, it's all an art form, and with the technology advancing at a rapid pace, which opens up more creativity. But vinyl, and I say to aspiring DJs and young DJs, learn to mix on vinyl.
Absolutely.
That is part of this craft
part of the
and
process.
art form. So learn on vinyl as well. So
good advice.
That you could go out there and play a vinyl set and show the world your talents playing vinyl. I mean, Sven Vath, he plays on vinyl, so there's a number of DJs that do. It's just vinyl.
Even if you never do it live, it just to learn that process.
Absolutely,
to get the real feel of
absolutely,
it. Absolutely, there's something about it which is different.
The physical product,
digital,
a record.
Let me ask you a question, which is probably probably seem like a stupid question, but I'm actually genuinely interested in your answer. I mean, so I've been in house music for years. I love house, but when you say, and I by the way, you know, and I think I've told you this before, but when I was a very young man living in New York City, didn't know anything about house.
Yeah,
and my friend at the time had all of those Love Groove CDs of yours.
Okay.
Was it Love Groove Party?
Yeah, Love Groove Dance Party. That was my show on Kiss Radio. Yeah,
that's all we listened to. We had all of those, and there were like 2 CD compilations, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of music on there.
So there was a Euro side, kind of more.
Yeah, and you'd have one side that's
trancey, and the other side was more US house.
Exactly, and you had, if I remember, you had quite a lot of music on there that was a little bit gospely and soulful.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So for me, being a preacher's kid who just kind of really was just entering into the world of beyond Jesus and cornbread.
Yeah,
that was kind of my introduction to house, and I loved the music so much that I would hire a little dance studio. I mean, I lived in the Lower East Side of New York, and I would hire a little dance studio once a week. It's so crazy to think of it now. And I'd go back in the middle of the day for like an hour, and I'd play the music really loud, and I'd be by myself in this dance studio, and I would just dance. I mean, I wasn't a dancer. I wasn't a trained dancer. I just loved the music, and I loved dancing to it.
Yeah.
And I just spend like an afternoon like dancing my tits
off
to this, which is hilarious to your compilation. So that in a way you were my foray.
Good choice.
Yeah. And because you have those elements of gospel and soul, because of my background, it really pulled me into it, and I realized, wow, this is my groove.
Most of the early house was gospel.
It was gospel
led.
But
City, Marshall Jefferson.
And I love this music. I mean, for me, this is, and of course with Revival, obviously, clearly, this is part of the part of the direction. But what is acid house? I mean,
what is acid house?
Tell me, what is acid house?
Acid house is that was the sound was born in Chicago with DJ Pierre and those DJ producers.
Yeah. But I mean, so
the 303 Sim that created the acid sound, and the first time I heard acid tracks, it was like, wow, this is from another dimension. This sound.
But
there's something about acid.
What is it that makes it different from house?
Sorry,
what is it makes it different from house?
Well, acid house is more instrumental generally.
Okay,
so it's 303
less vocals.
Quite often less vocals. But if we listen to 10 City, That's the Way Love Is, the acid version of that is amazing. Fusing the gospel soulful vocals with an acid track, that's one of my favourite acid tracks. But as I said, for me, the most definitive example of what acid house is Future acid tracks, 10 minutes long, just takes you on a journey and you go somewhere else. You're lost in the groove and the sound, and that is a seminal production. And in my opinion, that's just my opinion, the benchmark for the acid sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because I think in my head, if somebody says, there's an acid house party going on, I think if I'm honest, and this is just my sheer ignorance, I would be like, I don't know. I would think of it as hard. Like really, it would be too hard for me. But then you talk about acid house, and I listened to what you were playing back, and I'm like, but you play exactly what I love.
Yeah.
So I'm like, have I been missing out all this time? Should I be? Have I had this sort of wrong idea of what?
No, not at all. And Shoom was a combination of the acid sounds that were emerging at that time back in 87, 88, and the Summers of Love that
Did they call it acid house because people tended to be on acid, or?
Well, yeah, I think, there wasn't lots of people on acid, but I guess that people did take it, yeah.
I'm sure they did. Somebody did, Danny.
No, I think I
love that.
I believe that DJ Pierre coined that term, but we adopted it as kind of. This is acid house. It was a movement.
Right.
It was a movement.
And didn't you? Weren't you the first ones to actually officially use that happy face? That's
yes, at Shoom. Yeah, I saw a stylist, and he's Barnsley, and his jacket, his waistcoat was filled with smiley badges, and I loved the smiley badge and patches as a kid in the 70s.
So that literally started from Shoom.
That's going to be the symbolism for Shoom.
Wow.
Yeah, so I instructed graphic designer George Giorgio to make a flyer with tumbling smiley faces, but he designed it as tumbling pills.
That's great,
and it represented Shoom. So then the smiley was adopted by the wider rave scene and bastardized. Smileys with bullets in the head and exploding heads and all of that crap. The smiley is the symbol of happiness and joy and fun.
Yeah,
but
this is pre-emoji days.
Absolutely, but if we look now, the smiley it's gone global.
That's
which it did in the 70s. Yeah. But now, emojis. All different smiley.
Wow,
how many are there? There's about 50 of them, isn't there? All different faces.
Richie's copyrighted that. Can you imagine the money you'd be getting for that now?
Wow. So that captured the spirit of acid house, the smiley, and that represented the movement. And the movement was about peace. It was about love. It was about unity. It was about inclusion. Everyone coming together, and people did really come together. It broke down all the social taboos and the class system, and everything melded into one. And it was a remarkable time, and to be part of that and at the helm of that also, and seeing and living and breathing that feeling, it was a very unique, special time. It was revolutionary within our own world. We changed our own world, and the world was changing at large. The Berlin Wall came down. The apartheid was ending in South Africa. All these things were happening at the same time.
Which
we
felt
really
positive.
Thought, this is it. This is the age of Aquarius, and the world is changing. But that was changing within our world. The world of youth culture. But Shoom attracted people from there was kids who were 15 that got in there who looked older than what they were, but later disclosed that was their age, and
of course
Jenny let them in, because they didn't look 15. But there was a few of these kids from Bromley, but up to people in their 60s. There's a real mixture of people. There was no ageism at any raves or any at that time. There was no ageism. When I go out to play, I'm conducting energy, and it's the rapport of the crowd and the audience, and that exchange of that energy. And I keep things very uplifting. I don't play dark music, and I don't play stuff that's too moody and too down. I like to keep music. Music is a celebration of life.
I love
that's
that.
exactly why I'm very aligned to Revival. That's the sound that I play. I go out there to as all DJs do, I think, but I'm dancing as well. When I'm having a good night, I'm in that zone. I'm dancing and releasing energy, and that's reciprocated, and it builds the atmosphere. And playing uplifting music and songs with positive messages is all about positivity and joyous rapture. And people forgetting their everyday issues, or the world at large, and
the things that
it's an escapism for a couple of years, and we're locked into the flow of music. And
it's a beautiful thing. I mean,
absolutely.
It is literally one of the only things that really can completely, in a moment, connect everybody.
Absolutely. Music unites us and heals us.
It unites us, and it speaks. It speaks to everybody. In a way that no other language can. It is quite magical in that way. Is that what got you into it? Was it the potential for music to do something so powerful, to minister on such a level to people in this way? Is that what attracted you to it, or was it the glitz and
Well, I wanted to be a pop star when I was a kid, or an astronaut, or a farmer, or
wow,
and then I got obsessed with the radio.
Eclectic ambitions, farmer.
Yeah, aim high.
Hey, we need farmers.
Well, I thought that'd be a good thing to do, living in the countryside and getting up really early in the morning. Not that I did when I was a kid. I used to sleep for hours. I get up early now in the kind of recent couple of decades. But that was my kind of the dream as a kid. So, but the pathway to DJing was through the radio because I was obsessed with the radio. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and the radio was always on in the house, and I was fascinated. How does this music get broadcast through this radio and talking with the music as well? So that
I'm still fascinated by all that. I'm still fascinated by the phone that gets a signal from somewhere and you go, what?
Yeah.
How's that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so remarkable. So
the music came in via the radio.
Well, that sparked my life journey in music.
And did you want to sing? Did you have that? Like a lot of DJs I know actually really wanted to be a singer. Well,
I would have loved to have been a singer, but I don't have the voice.
Sing,
don't have your talent. Yeah. We're gifted one way. I believe that we all have a gift in this lifetime, and it's harnessing that gift and following that path.
Finding it and harnessing it, and
absolutely,
then, learning how to best utilize it because people go for ages without really understanding what their gift is, thinking they don't have a talent because it's not.
But everyone does.
But everybody does.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
and let me ask you a question. So, didn't you retire in 2005 and open a restaurant?
I don't like that term, retire, and that's what the press termed it as, retire, and it was. Yeah, I took a 2-year break out of music, and basically it was like cutting my right arm off.
How's the restaurant going?
I didn't play any music at home for over a year. I couldn't go into my music room downstairs. I used to live in a house in Islington, and I used to have a music cellar, and all of my DJ mates used to come back there and play there after Ministry of Sound, kind of. Morales, Angel Moraes, bless his soul, Murillo. It just
why couldn't you?
Benji Candelario, all of those American DJs, Harry Romero. They came to the after parties used to have in the cellar. But what happened? I had this. I became a father. I was traveling the world and. I wanted to spend more time at home, and I was getting restless in the industry, and I wasn't really feeling the music as much around that time, around 26, 27. Music is changing, and
definitely started changing.
There seemed to be a bit of a drought of really good music.
God,
and then I wanted to open a restaurant, so I got involved with a project that went on for a couple of years. Didn't secure the site, got very close to it, and then I bolted that, and I got involved with a business that is far removed from music, which was a property development business of eco properties.
Wow.
Which was a 10-year, very challenging period in my life. Very, very challenging.
For a DJ to go into property development
but it didn't pan out very well. Anyway, that's another story. And
so you came back to the music.
Past is done. But I came back to the music. I got asked to play at the Cross closing party in King's Cross. I think that was 2/8 or 2/9.
I was there, and
I played that party. Dave Piccioni invited me to play on the Azuli area. And that was it. I was like, why did I ever leave?
Why did I leave?
Why did I do that? Because I had some other ambitions. And I thought, I want to...
Do you know what? Sometimes it's good, though. Sometimes it's good to step away. You need a change. You know, to really appreciate what it is or just to you know, have a.
But it was built up in the press and everything.
Absolutely.
I was retiring. I should just
but you like
quietly just stepped away for a while.
How many farewell tours can Cher have? You know, it'd be like Danny Rampling's on another farewell tour. It's a good way to make sure that you sell tickets because people think this could be the last time. And
there won't be another one.
Yeah. Well, just one quick question. I mean, you know, you talked about the difference between then and the changes over the years, the clubbing and the music. And some of that's cultural, some of that is the trends and you know, substances. Some, you know, there's so many different factors. I mean, what do you feel about now? You know, I
think music's great.
You think music's coming back around?
I really do. I think there's so many.
There's a lot of good music out.
Good production out there, and I host a weekly radio show on forceradio.live on Saturday 7 to 9. So I'm always about new music. You know, I play classic events as well, but you can't. You know, kind of. I have to be inspired by new music.
Yeah.
So being on the radio, also, you know, kind of that weekly show is keeping it fresh. The search for new music. I buy most of my music online. So I like, you know, I like that ownership of music.
Yeah.
It's a different generation with the streaming side of things. I come from the original generation. But
well, of course, and you're...
Whatever works for, you know, kind of for you. But I really feel that music is great. I think the last few years, it's just like this production techniques have you know become
a long
far more accomplished. So many good productions, and I think you know kind of we'll go into the springtime and there'll be another wave of really good music. It's held back from Miami, a lot of the house stuff, you know, for the Miami Winter Music Conference and ADE in Amsterdam. So, yeah, I think, you know, but now, just right now, you know, I have an abundance of great music to play.
That's good to hear.
In the clubs and not in the radio. And I go in clubs and I could be booked for a classic type set, but I'll play new music as well because that new music does not become a classic. You know, that's my opinion on it. So you want to hear classics that you've heard how many times before, but some of those people haven't been out clubbing for a while, and then they go out once a year, so they want to hear what was great at that time when they were clubbing in the 90s in particular. So, but I put new re-edits and new remixes of those classics in to keep it exciting and fresh for me as well.
Yeah. That's what the Moose T said. All of the... with the Paul Gardner from Solar Vineyards, all the DJs I know that they're all making their own edits as well. They're creating their own little versions of the tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they know their people, they know their dance floors, you know.
Yeah.
But how do you? But you know,
music's great right now.
That's really good to hear.
Thank you, Revival, and all of your artists for this consistency. And it's and it it's opening a lot of people's ears to, hey, this is really good sound, you know.
Because it's kind of taking back, you know.
It's pushing the soulful.
Tracks that people remember, but, you know, giving it a new life.
Yeah, a modern feel. You know, a new life to that.
And a level of production, which, you know, we're not necessarily used to having these days because... you know, so many people can do productions in their bedrooms, and people aren't investing money in music. It's so hard to make the money back.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. But it's building the catalog, isn't it?
It's building the catalog, and we're really in it for the love. I mean, to be honest, you know,
and for the love
you really
of
kind
music.
of have to be in this business. If you go into business, I think restaurant business or music, to make money, you are an idiot.
Well, there is money to be made.
There is money to be made.
Yeah. But they don't come easy.
But it doesn't come easy. And
unless you want to completely commercialise yourself. And, of course, that's another part of the industry. That's a very different part of the industry.
Exactly. But it's a tough old business. You got to love it. You got to love the music.
Absolutely. We produce and play the sound that we love. And house music, it's an underground music form, all right. Now it's not as underground, and it's got its commercial side. But
it's still...
But the roots of house are in the underground.
And the roots are in everything you said about Shoom. The roots are really in this sort of idea of an integrated
Absolutely. Togetherness.
A concept of family,
Yeah.
brothers and sisters, and
the music unites us as one.
It unites us.
Yeah.
And I love this about house.
Brings unity.
Creates a house that we can all live in.
Yeah,
Always like
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creates a house we can all live in.
The state of the world, as we all know at the moment, it's not according to the news, not so great. Do you feel that there's hope?
Yes, there is hope, and this is a time of great change and dangerous, thrilling, at the same time, dangerous and thrilling history that we are living. And I believe we're blessed to be here at this time. And I do believe that there is going to be light at the end of this dark tunnel the world is going through right now. There's a lot of evil going on in this world right now.
Yeah.
A lot of evil and control and divisiveness. And I do believe that it's going to get darker before there is dawn.
What can we do to promote the
unite, and do not comply to any of it.
Okay.
Create your own life and focus on your own life and bring joy to the world.
And let your light shine.
And raise the vibration. Yeah. Don't get bogged down with the fear that is being projected upon humanity and the world.
There's a lot of fear.
It's a fear-driven agenda. Yeah. Fear is the core driver.
Hasn't that always been
in love.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder. I mean, after that, you look back and we always think, "Oh, things are worse now than they were." But hasn't fear always been at the top of an agenda?
Of course, it has. Yeah.
And in a way, it's just now. At least
it's on stealth.
We're waking up to understanding.
It's on stealth.
Yeah.
But I do believe this is the great humanity of the great awakening of humanity, as the opposite of what's being imposed upon humanity. It's coming to a head. And there will be light, and this world is going to transform into a world of abundance for all, and not just the select few, the minority. Things are changing. We're going into a very different age here, and
things be changing around here.
Yeah, and this is their last stand. This is their last stand.
You heard it here, Danny Rampling. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
So raise your vibrational frequency and, give love, be love.
Absolutely.
And live a life full of love, because that is the most powerful force we have in the universe.
Absolutely.
Gratitude and love.
Yeah, choose love.
Yeah.
There's some horrendous things going on in the world right now. It's just atrocious. However, there will be change. There will be change.
Find a dance floor somewhere and dance. Yeah. Dance until you shift your own vibrational frequency.
Music is so important.
It's why music
go
is
out there, and it
key.
does raise the collective vibration.
It does, yeah.
And it's very, very important that we do that we do go out. And I mean, when this that 2-year period of the restrictions and lockdown, and we lost all our work and we couldn't perform, I went and played at some gatherings on Hampstead Heath in the woods.
Yeah.
There was like a collective of people, and we need that.
Yeah.
It's a primal
I think I know a few
need
friends that went to those parties.
to be with other people and dancing.
Yeah.
And to dance.
Absolutely.
And enjoy music. Yeah, and that happened.
Probably,
so they didn't stop us.
Probably
completely.
made it more fun.
Well, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Anytime something's not allowed, it's more fun. There's nothing like, as soon as you say you can't do it, it's like,
yes, we will.
This is going to be the best party ever.
Well, it took me back to the early days of like kind of the rave scene and
exactly.
Right back. The formation of the scene.
Amazing.
It was a bit like that, really. At that, through like 2. Well, it was 2 years off and on, wasn't it? That's it.
Yeah.
Clubs are closed.
Yeah. Even in Ibiza, I was under house arrest for a good...
Well, it was a lot worse in Ibiza. I'm aware of that with my friends that lived there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot more drastic than the UK.
We are out of that.
Thank God.
I think I might still be a little traumatized, but yes, praise the Lord. Hallelujah. And we are blessed. And
I'd
favored.
like us to make a track for revival.
Yeah.
And that's on the
we'd like
to-do list
to get you on a mix.
2024.
I'd like to get you on a mix. You get for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah,
we've got it here recorded.
Absolutely.
Danny Rampling, thank you so much for coming in. I know you've also got another place you got to be, but thank you so much for being in our studios with us. We are so honored.
Absolute pleasure
to have you playing Revival music. Definitely want to get you on a mix, and it's great to have one of the legends of house. And thank you for sharing your time, your energy, your vibration, your light, your love, and for reminding us that there is a light.
Keep shining the light.
Keep shining the light.
Always.
This little light of mine.
Shine the light.
I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. You know that.
Unfortunately, I can't duet with you. I'm unable to duet. It sounds like karaoke gone wrong. Yeah, but that's